Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you, Cathaoirleach. My issue is in relation to, as you are aware, Minister, there is a proposal to, and it's a proposal that has been there with some time, about building the new Cork to Limerick roadway, and it's now back on the books. A new contract was signed recently to start the initial process about identifying the route and delivering a motorway between Cork and Limerick, or as people in Limerick would say, the Limerick to Cork road. But one of the problems that I'm facing in the north side of Cork City is that we have a huge problem on the eastern side, on both sides, on both the western and eastern side, north side of the city, in that traffic coming in at the moment from the Mallow direction is coming to, there's very little road infrastructure available to take heavy traffic. And you take the eastern side, which is what my motion is in relation to, there's very heavy goods vehicles now passing through residential areas in the Glen, in Mayfield and down into Silver Springs, because that traffic is heading towards the Port of Cork. If we build the new Cork to Limerick roadway, the important thing is that we don't have a bottleneck when it comes to Blackpool, and this traffic will still have to travel on to the Port of Cork. And what I'm looking for is that in dealing with this Cork Limerick road, that we would also tie in the at least part of the structure at this stage in the whole process, and that's the northeastern relief road, which would connect the Cork Limerick road to the Cork Dublin road. And there were proposals over, I suppose, 15 years ago now, for what they call the North Ring Road. Unfortunately, in the north side of the city, we don't have like what's in Dublin, the M50. You have old road infrastructure which is no longer adequate to deal with the traffic coming into the city, and especially heavy goods vehicles which are travelling on to the Port of Cork. And the Port of Cork is growing every year. We're building a brand new port facility in Renniskiddy. Construction work is well underway, and therefore it will be an extremely attractive port for heavy goods to go to, because we'll be able to bring in bigger ships, because of we're now the port will have deeper waters for ships to dock in. So it's in that context that I'm raising this issue, and I'm just wondering if the whole issue can be tied in together, the North Ring Relief Road on the northeastern side of the city together with the Cork Limerick Road. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Hirlock. Thank you, and thank you, Senator Burke. And on behalf of I'll be taking this on behalf of Minister Ross. Firstly, I want to explain that the Minister for Transport, Tourism and Sport has responsibility for the overall policies and funding in relation to the National Road Programme. Under the Road Act 1993 to 2015, the planning, design and construction of individual national roads is a matter for the Transport Infrastructure Ireland (TII) in conjunction with the local authorities concerned. In the overall context of the Project Ireland 2040, the National Development Plan has been developed by the Government to underpin the successful implementation of the new National Planning Framework. This provides the strategic and financial framework for National Road Programme for the period of 2018 to 2027. In the next 10 years covered by the plan, over 11 billion will be invested in roads networks. There are two separate roads proposed to alleviate traffic congestion for the North Cork City area. Under the National Development Plan, there is a reference to the North Ring Road linking to the N22 Dunkettle. The Cork NNR is a complementary but independent scheme to the M20 Cork to Limerick scheme, and the NDP indicated that this scheme could be best assessed as part of the overall transport strategy for Cork. Another option in the provision of the Cork North Distribution Road would be being considered under the Cork Metropolitan Area Transport Strategy, the CMATS. The NTA and in the process of finalising CAMTS, which will be published in the near future. The strategy will establish the context for the consideration of the Cork NRR and the North Distribution Road as part of an overall transport strategy, for the Metropolitan Cork area, which will include the examination of a public transport and demand management options. The Cork Northern Distributory Road will be appraised first, and after that the consideration will be given to need for the proposal for the Cork NRR. The original preference route for the N40 Cork and the NRR was established by Cork County Council, Cork City Council criteria in 2007 and 2018, is approximately 22 kilometres in length from east and west sections. However, there will be subject to reappraisal is to early at the stage to establish whether it can be best delivered and justified as the eastern or western sector of both, and what impact on the impact of the Cork North Distributory Road will have in an appraisal. The CMATS study that is currently underway will set out the context under both the Cork NRR and the Northern Distributory Road, and further examinations and progress, if appropriate, subject to availability of funding. The Cork NNR, if progress, will be determined in accordance with the DTTAS guidelines for the scheme appraisal and the TII project appraisal guidelines under PAG, and for the National Road, including a route option assessment and business cases. It's very technical, I'm sorry to admit to you.
Senator Burke, I hope I'm around to enjoy all these improvements in Cork. So, Senator Burke.
Yeah, thank you very much, Minister. And
briefly,
thank you for your contribution, Minister. I suppose it's the one area that we really need to put in road infrastructure. The reason why I'm suggesting the eastern section first is because the western section is quite complicated because of the landscape there. I think one of the problems that I have is that if you decide to do the North Ring Road altogether, your problem is that we'll keep getting the response back, oh, it's extremely expensive and the funding isn't there. Whereas if you approach it the way I'm talking about doing it, at least you won't have the bottleneck in Blackpool for traffic heading for the port, which I think is the priority that we need to deal with. And it's in that context that I'm raising it. And I know, Minister, it's in the Minister for Transport's jurisdiction and not in your department's jurisdiction, but I think that's the important issue that I want to raise here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Look, as I said, it was a complicated piece of commencement to read back to you, but, and because I'm not familiar with the actual locations in Cork you're speaking about, I've taken some notes, and I will ask Minister Ross to come back to you, and I will explain that on your recommendations that the eastern section should be one of the first parts to be made priority. I'm afraid, Cahir, that's all of information I have to give to the Senator.
I'm sure that the Senator will be in the other house before too long, and he'll be able to progress that.
I will pursue Minister Ross.
Thank you, Minister. Yeah.